¿Se convertirá algún día China en una superpotencia mundial? ¿Es cierto que en el país asiático existe una burbuja inmobiliaria? ¿Es un país capitalista o socialista? Para responder a esas cuestiones hemos hablado con Andy Xie, uno de los economistas más lúcidos y brillantes de Asia. Tachado en su día de ser políticamente incorrecto, predijo antes que nadie la crisis de las hipotecas basura en Estados Unidos. VJM ha podido hablar con él sobre las verdades y los mitos del gigante chino. Hello, Mr. Xie. Thank you very much for giving us this interview. We know you're a really busy man. Actually, you have to run to the airport after the interview. So, to start with, you forecasted the crisis in China. Is the world now on the road to recovery?
Well, I think that the world is still in a transition. The way out is that developed countries like the United States need to save more, so they will not be able to spend more. While emerging economies like China need to spend more, and so we can have a more balanced global economy.
Many analysts say that China is suffering less than the rest of the countries, and that China is leading this global recovery from the crisis. Do you think this is true?
Well, leading the growth in a way is correct because the government spend a lot of money. The government introduced 4 trillion renminbi, equivalent to like $600 billion of stimulus package, over 10% of GDP, 13% of GDP. But the export sector is still suffers a lot. 40 million people lost their jobs during this crisis.
For many years, China's growth was based on exports. After the crisis outburst, many analysts say that China should export less and consume more. But is this possible in the mid-long term?
This struggle is it's about the government. How much do you want to control the economy, right? If you want to control the economy 100%, the consumption is not going to be strong.
Okay, and actually there's a huge gap income between villages and, as you said, cities. But how could the government correct such imbalance? We know that the welfare system is going to take longer than expected, but are there other ways to correct this imbalance?
I think the key is a good labor market. So the solution for the rural income problem, living standard problem, is not in the villages. It has to be in the cities. So that's another big issue China needs to solve. The property price is too high. In lots of cities, the property value is equal to 20 years of a family income. It's just not affordable. You need to bring it down to like possibly 7 years or 8 years of a family income. Then urbanization can become much quicker. And more people moving from villages into cities. So that is something that the Chinese government must come around to make a decision. High property price is not good for economic development.
So the bubble can be a danger, and we guess that corruption might be another danger. You have been very critical about corruption, so we would like to know how can this affect the Chinese economy?
Yeah, I think that the corruption has come along with this property market. No other country in the world has such a large property market, and because it's all based on government-owned land, so the room for corruption is very large.
Mr. Xie, why does China have the biggest savings rate in the world?
Well, Chinese people are making money for the first time. The wealth level is very low. As I mentioned before, most of the wealth is owned by the government. So they are insecure, so they also want to save. So that is why Chinese household savings rate is so high. And that's why it requires Chinese government to transfer government wealth to the household sector.
And can Chinese renminbi replace the dollar as the international currency reserve?
Well, in the very long term, it's possible. But in the short term, we have many hurdles. But in the very long run, it is possible. But Chinese economy will become bigger than the U.S. economy, possibly in 15 years' time.
Let's talk about figures now. Some economists find the Chinese government figures are not completely trustworthy. Are they reliable in their opinion?
The data in that regard are not accurate because the data are not collected through an independent channel. It's collected through local governments that with vested interests in what kind of data they report. I think that is a big problem. I think even though those data are a big problem, but what I see is that China's economic accomplishment in the last 30 years is real. You go around the country, you can see.
Do you think Chinese politicians are doing their best to improve people's life conditions, or do they have other priorities?
I think that Chinese government puts stability above everything else. There's another angle to understand Chinese politics. Chinese senior government officials now they have this. They have five-year terms. So in 3 years' time, there'll be new government. So for the people who are running the government, the country today, they have powerful incentives to muddle through, leave the problems to the next government.
I know this question is difficult, but is China a state-oriented economy or a market one?
I think that the Chinese system has evolved into like a half government, half private. When you live in China, sometimes you feel like you cannot feel the government at all. You go to a supermarket, it's privately owned, right? The flat you own yourself. The company that manages your flat is a privately owned company, right? So that part is private. But if you get on a bus, it's government owned. You take the subway, it's government owned. You fly, the airlines are government owned. You deposit your money in a bank, the bank is government owned. You make a call on your mobile phone, the company is government owned. Yeah, all the larger scale industries, any industry with some sort of monopoly power or a strategic significance, they are all government owned.
Mr. Xie, thank you very much for your time. It's been a very interesting interview and hope you take your plane on time.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.